We're just over 2 months away from the 2024 annual meeting, and on this episode of The Road to Indy, presented by Southern Seminary and Boyce College, SBC President Bart Barber joins us to tell us more about what you can expect when you come to Indianapolis this June. Bart, thanks for joining us.
It's great to be here, Jonathan. Thanks for doing this important work.
Well, and thank you for serving as president to Southern Baptist. I know this is your second year, 1-year terms, eligible to be elected twice. And you're in your second year this year. What's the difference like being, going into a convention where you've already presided over it versus one that you haven't been on that type of stage? I mean, you've been on that stage before, but not like that. So what's the difference this year? Do you feel any different going to Indy versus going to New Orleans?
It feels a lot the same to me. I'm real thankful for the experience last year. I've learned a couple of things. From reviewing the tapes from last year, which I've done like 3 times now.
Watching that game film, huh?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Like any good team would do, right? Al Gage and I have done that. But it's also, I think, a little bittersweet because I really enjoy being at the annual meeting. I enjoy helping messengers do what they came to do. And this is the last time I'll get to do it.
Well, I mean, you can still help messengers and still be at the annual meeting, Bart. We're not going to ban you from Dallas next. It's a home game next year for you.
You never know.
Yeah, no, I mean, like next year you'll be in your backyard, right down the road.
I will.
Next year, instead of having a big shindig like we did in New Orleans, we had the thing at New Orleans Baptist Theological Seminary at the Fred, so to speak.
Yeah.
Next year, unmerited ranch.
Hey, listen, we're really hoping that we can get a house built out there before we get to Dallas.
Okay.
Because it'd be fun. Right. It'd be fun.
I'm going to bring 10,000 of my closest friends, and you can grill up some meat.
Yeah.
Don't tell Tracy I said that.
Not Lottie. Not Lottie. Lottie gets to stay.
Lottie is the sacred cow.
She is. Yeah. The closest that Baptists can get to that.
That's right. That's right. So, all right, this year, big change in Indy. Let's get back to that. Tuesday night. We haven't had a night session in some time, but the way the messengers have wanted to do business and done business over the past few years, it's kind of necessitating that we allot some more time while we're together to do business. And with a couple of extra reports from task forces this year, as well as just all the other business that we've been doing, the Tuesday night session kind of became a necessity, and you made that call this year to have a Tuesday night session at the annual meeting.
We were this close to doing this the previous year in New Orleans.
Yeah.
It's something that we really considered. But a couple of things that just made me know it had to be done. First of all, like you said, we've added on new reports. There were 3 task forces that I was assigned to appoint coming out of New Orleans, and all that takes time. And then beyond that, I experienced last year the reality that you can only make the business meeting up to a certain level of density. Eventually, even just because the people on the platform need to regroup and get ready for the next thing and have a little breather, there has to be some padding. There has to be some space. So we were already compressing the annual meeting to as much business as we could put into the sessions that we had. Something had to give. We needed a nighttime session.
Yeah. So this year, the Tuesday night on June the 11th, we're going to have a nighttime session. And in that session, you'll be hearing from the task forces that Bart mentioned, the Great Commission Resurgence Task Force that's studying that. The ARITF will be presenting that night, as well as the Cooperation Group, the group that Bart was tasked to appoint last year. So you got all those task force, and I believe we have the election for your successor on Tuesday night.
That is correct. And so Tuesday night is going to be a very important session. You're not going to want to miss that.
Yeah. So should be a lot of fun. And kind of the first time many of us, even I've been coming since 2011, I believe, and I don't remember us having a Tuesday night session. Maybe we have had a Tuesday night session, and I just don't remember it. I know we've had some events on Tuesday night, but I don't think we've had like an official session. I think maybe in Phoenix in 2017, we might have had something on that Tuesday night, but I can't remember if that's like a special event or like an actual business session. But there's going to be a lot of business in this business session on Tuesday night.
That's right. And the last one I remember, they had like a guy who read through the book of Genesis or through the early part of the book of Genesis on Tuesday night. And it was more of a devotional service, sort of, I guess
Yeah,
you would say. But this
yeah.
one is absolutely a business session.
So there will be some devotion in there as well. Joe Kreider and the gang will be leading us in worship that night, and I'm excited about that. That was you picked Joe this year to lead the worship. You and him have been working on that. How's that been going?
It's been great working with Joe Kreider about all of this. Really, James Cheeseman did this last year, and for a church our size, having two members of the pastoral staff pretty much working for the SBC for a lot of the year was just something very difficult for us to do again. This is the best of both worlds because James Cheeseman's on the faculty at Southwestern Seminary. Joe Kreider is the head of the music school at Southwestern Seminary. And so James is still involved. Joe is coming, bring other people from Southwestern Acapella, who did such an amazing job in New Orleans. They're going to be there as well. And I think people can expect it to be something that's very similar to last year, only even better and using more people, a greater talent pool that's pulling it off this year.
Absolutely, and I'm looking really forward to that. James did a great job last year. I know Dr. Kreider is going to do a great job this year as well. But Bart, as we kind of reflect now on almost 2 years of the Bart Barber presidency, what have you learned? What's been the biggest surprise that you've had during your presidency?
Was probably not a good answer, but the biggest surprise that I got was that I had to know who my worship leader was immediately after I was elected. You
that phone call that came from me.
You called me.
Wait, what?
You called me and said, "Who's your worship leader?" I said, "Well, probably James Cheeseman, but I haven't asked him. When do you need to know?" And you said, "In 5 minutes. We're voting on it." So that was a completely unanticipated surprise. But I just say that I've traveled more than I thought I would. I've met with more Southern Baptists than I thought I would, and that's been the best part of all of it. I went into this thinking I'm going to limit that so that I can manage things at church. My church has been very supportive, and it's a limited time thing. They couldn't do this forever, but we've made it go for a couple of years. And that's permitted me to get out to more places and to meet more people. And I've loved that because there are so many amazing Southern Baptists all across this country.
Yeah. Every SBC president I've talked to, that's kind of the thing that they reflect on is the unanticipated meetings of Southern Baptists out in the wild, so to speak. You just don't expect it, and you run into people, and you're blessed by them every time. I remember Ed Litton telling me a story about he and Kathy were out in Colorado, and there were some Southern Baptist disaster relief volunteers that were cleaning up ashes from the wildfires, and they were cleaning up somebody's house, and just how that ministered to them in that time, and just running into those yellow shirts out there. I know, and that's a organization and ministry that really close to your heart, and Tracy as well. But just to run into those Southern Baptists out there showing and sharing the love of Christ to people in need. And just how much of a blessing that was.
We've been 2 years now to Indian Falls Creek at the Falls Creek encampment in Oklahoma. And it's what's pretty neat about something like that is the opportunity to learn that you thought you knew the Southern Baptist Convention and to realize that there's so many groups, not small groups that are large enough that they could be larger than some whole denominations in some places that are families of churches within this family of churches at Southern Baptist Convention who are amazing people who sometimes you just don't see unless you go looking for them. And it's been so delightful to find groups like that and to get to know key leaders in those groups and to build relationships that last far beyond that drop of the gavel in Indianapolis at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I think what you're testifying to is exactly right, because the more you get to know the Southern Baptist family, it's broader, bigger, and better than you ever could have imagined.
I agree.
Yeah. So Bart, I appreciate you. Thank you for leading us so well over these past 2 years. And for those of you watching at home, we want to remind you that your road to Indy and your road back home should include a quick side trip to Southern Seminary and Boyce College. You can go to sbts.edu/road trip to see what Southern has planned for SBC 24 road trippers just like you. Again, we hope to see you in Indianapolis, and you can join us next week right here on The Road to Indy, presented by Southern Seminary and Boyce College.